Hi everyone, it's me. Welcome to today's video. Today, I actually thought it'd be a good idea to go over my entire physical TBR. The last time we did this was early 2025, and now starting out the new year, I feel like it's just a good time, a good opportunity to go through all of the books that I currently own in physical. Also just to reevaluate which of these books I actually can see myself reading and which of these books are maybe just not my reading taste anymore. So as we go through all of these books that I own, we're also going to look at them all in the lens of like, do I actually see myself reading these? I'm actually hoping to make a little bit of an UNHAUL pile, but I'm also hoping to obviously keep a lot of these books on my TBR because obviously I was interested in them at one point and hopefully I am still interested in them. So at the beginning of last year, my physical TBR was about 101 books. By the end of the year, I whittled that number down to just under 50, I think. I can't remember the exact count, but I think it was around 48 books, I want to say, by the end of the year. And then I went on a book shopping spree during Bookmas. So I am very curious to see what that number is now, but we're going to count them at the end of this video after we've gone through all of these books. So just to get started, I have all my books in front of me right now. You can't see them all. Most of them are under frame, but I'm going to go through all of them and then repopulate my TBR cart as we go through. So first up, right here in front of me, I have My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. I've never read an Alice Feeney book before, but I have heard she is a wonderful thriller author. And I know I had a breakup with thrillers for about a year and a half, but I feel like I'm starting to get into a mood again where I am excited to pick up thrillers, where I feel intrigued at them. I feel like my time has come back for me to reunite with this genre. So I'm excited to read this one. That one's essentially a story where our protagonist goes out on a run, comes home only to find that her locks have been changed. Her husband still lives there but is pretending he doesn't know who she is, and he actually has a full other wife who is also living there. But she's like, hold on, this is my house. What are you talking about? So I need to know what that's all about. I also have The Future Saints by Ashley Winstead. This has been said to be for fans of Daisy Jones and the Six, follows a band and a band manager and their messy story, and I'm really excited about this one. Silver Cloak by L.K. Stephen. This is the same author who wrote Our Infinite Fates. It's a fantasy with wands, which is so fun, and I think we follow a group of thieves or just like kind of underground criminal crime syndicate type characters. So I'm excited to read this one as well. I think the magic system is also based on pain, and that sounds very intriguing to me. We have A Romance Left of Forever by Tara DeWitt. I have never read this romance author before, but I've heard some really good things. I think I've heard she tends to combine contemporary fiction with romance very well, and that is the type of romance I enjoy. I don't really love romance books that are just romance or like 80% romance even. I do like more of a 50-50 even split with a fiction story with romance. So I've heard good things about Tara DeWitt and I am excited to get into this. I think this also follows adult characters, so that's also very exciting. Ooh, I have Semi-Well Adjusted by Alison Stoner. I actually received this recently from the publisher, which was very exciting because I have been curious to read this one. I don't read that much nonfiction, but when I do, it's usually a memoir. And I feel like Alison Stoner's story really intrigues me because, you know, it has to do with being so young in the spotlight. That is always very interesting to me because I have had some sort of a past with entertainment and being a performer. Definitely not to the same level that Alison Stoner was, but yeah, I'm very curious about this one. So this will probably be my like one memoir read of the year. Okay, The View from Lake Como by Adriana Trigiani. I got this book a long time ago, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you, this might be the first book that I put in my UNHAUL pile. This is a contemporary fiction. Our main character, I think, goes to Italy and reconnects with her family there, and I do tend to like stories like that, but for some reason there's something about this book that I just don't feel drawn to. I don't know if it's because we're in the middle of winter now and this very much looks like a summer book and that's why I feel like I'm not really in the mood for this, but I don't know. We've passed several seasons of me holding this book on my TBR and I've never looked at it twice. So I feel like that might be a sign to unhaul this one. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put this one in my unhaul pile. Also, for you guys watching right now, I am gonna make an unhaul pile, but if there are any books that I put in my unhaul pile and you are like, Jamie, no, you need to read that book, keep it on your TBR, let me know in the comments, because I will hold on to this pile for at least a couple weeks before I go out and put them into the wild. So there is a chance to save any of these books that I put in that unhaul pile, but this is the first one. All right, we have from Miss Cassie Clare, Swordcatcher. Definitely interested in reading this. I know I have gone back and forth so many times on like where I want to start with Cassandra Clare books because she has such a large universe. Either way, I want to get into her books. Another thriller, I have Best Offer Wins by Marissa Cascino. This one sounds like a lot of fun as well. The synopsis is kind of reminding me of None of This Is True, where we have a character that is infiltrating into another family's lives for ulterior motives. So our protagonist wants to buy a house really badly, but the market sucks, which is very relatable to real life. But what she ends up doing is she starts befriending the family who owns her dream home that is about to go on sale, with the hopes that if she becomes close with them, she will have the best chance to purchase the house. This one sounds really fun to me, so that's another thriller. This literary fiction as well I'm excited for. This is The Second Chance Cinema by Thea Weiss. This one has a little bit of magical realism. We follow a couple who stumble into a theater and realize the theater is playing some of their memories, I think. And so they each go on this journey of going through their memories. One of the characters, I think, doesn't really want to do it because he doesn't want to dig up the past. But then the other character, I think the wife, actually does want to do it because she wants to, I don't know, get closure from certain things. And so we follow them as they go past through their memories, through this cinema that's playing their memories, and we see if their marriage survives that, basically. So that just sounds so interesting and so unique to me. The Jasad Air by Sarah Hashem. I have heard so many wonderful things about this romantasy duology, and I feel like I need to get into this very, very soon. I'm very excited. Ooh, Upgrade by Blake Crouch. Really excited about this one as well. You guys know I loved Recursion last year. It is, I would say, the book that got me into sci-fi in recent years, so I'm excited to read another by Blake Crouch. I think this one has something to do with uploading your memories into some sort of a cloud or something like that. But outside of that, I do want to go into this one, Fairly Blind, which is what I did with Recursion, and I just want Blake Crouch to blow my mind once again. Lightbreakers by Asia Gable. I'm really excited to read this one as well. I think this one is slightly sci-fi, but mostly literary fiction, where kind of similar to Second Chance Cinema, we follow a couple who they individually start going back in time and reliving their past, something like that, but then troublesome things come up as they start reliving their past. Very intrigued. I have Buckeye by Patrick Ryan. This was one of the Goodreads Choice nominees of last year, and this one is a historical fiction. I think it's set in Ohio, and it's somewhat of a generational story and somewhat of a love story. So that's a keep. And I have Before I Forget, another fiction. This is by Tori Henwood Hohen. I've heard really good things about this one. Our protagonist, I think, has a father who is starting to lose his memories, and so she goes to take care of him, but she realizes as he starts to lose his memories, he actually starts getting these premonitions of the future. Like, he starts being able to see the future, but he is losing the memories of the past, and so she has to come to terms with that. But then also seeing the future comes with all sorts of complications, and so I think this is one of those darkly funny but also sad types of stories, and yeah, I've heard really good things. Really excited to get into that one. Love Me Tomorrow by Emiko Jean. This is an arc that I have, and this one is basically a magical realism romance where our protagonist starts receiving notes from her supposed love of her life, but from the future, and as she starts getting these letters and reading through them, she has to figure out like which of these current guys in my life is my love and who is the one sending me these letters. It sounds really fun and very cute. The Legend of the Nine-Tailed Fox by Katrina Kwan. This is a YA fantasy, and we kind of reverse a lot of romantasy tropes where our protagonist is usually a human and the love interest is usually some sort of like a morally gray creature, like a fae, a vampire, whatever type of mythical creature you want. This kind of subverts those tropes where our protagonist is actually the demon and the love interest is the demon hunter. So this one sounds really fun. It's based on a lot of Chinese mythology and I always love that. So excited to read this one. Also, my books keep falling on the TBR card. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I got this one from a little free library and I don't know, I feel like ever since I picked this one up, your comments to me have not been very encouraging. I feel like I got a lot of comments from you guys basically saying, oh yeah, good luck with The Bell Jar. It was a really tough read for me, but not in a good way. And so I just started to feel very discouraged because I trust your Rex with my life. I feel like you guys who have been following me for a while, you know my book taste so well, and for so many of you guys to be like, yeah, good luck with that one, does not feel like it bodes well for this. So I feel like I might put this one in my UNHAUL pile for now. Also, I don't really feel bad doing that because I did pick this one up in a little free library months and months and months and months ago, and so I just feel like if I'm not gonna read it right away, it deserves to be put back into the little free library where someone else can find it and actually read it in good time versus me just holding on to it forever. So I'm gonna put this one in the UNHAUL pile for now. But if you guys are actually like, no, Jamie, this is actually a classic that you should read, let me know and maybe I'll keep it. But I don't know, I haven't felt encouraged by that one. Next is Seven Deadly Thorns by Amber Hamilton. This is a YA romantasy story. I think it's set in a school as well. I might unhaul this one. I don't know, I haven't felt like picking this one up. Also, the comp titles on this one are The Cruel Prince and Powerless, and although I did enjoy reading The Cruel Prince when I did a couple years ago, I don't know, I feel like I've grown out of that in terms of my reading taste a little bit. And the second comp title to this is actually Powerless, and I did not love Powerless. I might unhaul this one and let someone else enjoy it. Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. This is the first book in the Remnant Chronicles, which is a combined series, not a combined series. It's a series that is set in the same world as the Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves duology, but this one actually comes first. So I read the universe in the wrong order, but that's okay. I'm excited to pick this up. I've heard some good things. I know Freya really enjoyed the first book as well, and she's also looking to continue the series soon, so yeah, I definitely want to read this one. Also, A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir. So this is the fourth book in the Amber Quartet. Obviously, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna read it. I have one more book to go in this series. I'm hoping to read this in February, actually, because I feel like I've been on a roll with this series and I want to finish it while it's fresh and while I'm like in the world, immersed in it. So I'm definitely gonna keep this. Ooh, Night Weaver by R.M. Gray. This one isn't, I'm not sure. This one is a pirate YA romantasy. And I feel like when I first got this book, I received it from the publisher, I was like, pirate romantasy. That sounds like so much fun. But ever since I received it, I just have not felt the urge to pick it up. This book looks so cool though. Like, look at the end papers. So cool. I love that there's a family tree. I haven't felt like picking this up, but it looks cool. The comp titles to this also are Powerless and Heartless Hunter. So the Powerless is kind of making me, I don't know if I want to read this, but the Heartless Hunter is making me a little bit intrigued. So what do I do? What do I do with this? I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it. I think I was so determined to unhaul this one, but I think I'm gonna keep it. I don't know. I think the family tree got me. The family tree on the end paper. Pulled me back in. Okay, we're gonna keep Night Weaver for now, but if I don't pick it up this year, we're gonna unhaul it next year. The Foxwife by Yang Zi Chu. I'm really excited to read this one. It's a historical fantasy. We have a little bit of a mystery with a courtesan who is found frozen to death, and we also have these fox spirits that turn into these beautiful human-like appearances to trick people. I'm excited. I'm excited for this. It sounds right up my alley. I also have this Woven Kingdom by Tahira Mafi. You guys know I need to start this series so soon. So many of you have been screaming at me to start this one, and I'm with you. I really want to start it too. I have just wanted to finish up a couple more series before starting new ones because I feel like once I start this one, I want to read it fairly quick, at least the books that are out. I don't know if this is a complete series actually. I think there are 4 books out in the series so far, and I don't know if that's all of them or if it will continue to extend longer than that. So if you know, let me know, but I already have the first 3 books in the series on my physical TBR, so I need to get on it. And I really do want to get on it. Never Ever After by Sulin Tan. I'm giving Sulin Tan another chance because I really, really love her writing. I didn't absolutely love the Daughter of the Moon Goddess duology, but I do see the potential in her writing. I just didn't like the trajectory that that story went on. But this one is basically a Cinderella-inspired retelling or reimagining, but mixed with Chinese mythology, and like, I'm in. I feel like that sounds like a lot of fun. So that's a keep. And we have Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. I feel like this is a famous book, an infamous book that's been sitting on my TBR for the longest time and has been staring at me and has probably been staring at you every time I do a TBR video. I have not wanted to pick this up. I have felt zero urge to. I think it's because it is quite romantasy, and I've been a little bit hesitant to pick up like standard romantasy these days. The romantasies I have wanted to pick up are, I don't know, they have more unique settings or they have a bit more culture in them. And I feel like this one, from the premise, just sounds like an average romantasy to me. I might be wrong about that. Let me know if I am totally wrong with that impression, but I am 100% judging this book by its cover and its synopsis, and to me it just sounds like a dark romantasy. And I just don't know if I'm in the mood for that. And I haven't been in the mood for that for a very long time. So I think I'm gonna put this in my UNHAUL pile. But if you're really sad about that, and if you're like, no, Jamie, please read it, comment down below. Let me know if I need to put this back on the TBR, but for now, I'm gonna let it go. It's been sitting on the cart for too long. Love Song by Elle Kennedy. This one's a little bit of a weird one for me because I just received this one from the publisher, was very excited about it. I haven't read an Elle Kennedy novel before because her most popular books are that Off-Campus series, and those are sports romances, and I don't really do sports romance, especially like a college, like school level sports romance. But this one sounds a little bit more up my alley. We're set in the summer. I think we are at Lake Tahoe, and we have a little bit of a music element in this one. Our love interest, he works in the musical industry. I don't know if he's an artist, a singer, in a band. I don't know. I don't think it says in the synopsis, but currently his music career, whatever he does, is stalled. And so he comes to Tahoe for inspiration and then meets our protagonist. So I do like a music romance more than a sports romance. So I thought this would be a good one for me to try Elle Kennedy, but then I also started hearing from a lot of you guys that this is part of an interconnected series, which I think is usually okay to read in a romance out of order. But some of you have said that this one might be a little weird to read out of order in terms of the interconnectedness of these romance books in the series. So I don't know, I'm still gonna give it a try because I feel like I can probably pick up a romance in the middle of the series if it's an interconnected standalone, but maybe it's not as standalone as I'm imagining. I don't know, let me know, but this is an art copy that I recently received and I think it looks cute. I have 2 Adrienne Youngs here. So I have Saint, which I think is a standalone but based in a somewhat of a series that she wrote previously but republished now with like a new cover and everything. So I got this from the publisher, and I also got this one, Fallen City, from the publisher, and I'm really excited to read both of these. I do really enjoy Adrienne Young's writing. A Sea of Unspoken Things was not a hit for me recently, but I have loved her other books in the past, and these 2 are more fantasy books from her, where all of the books I've previously read from her are more magical realism mystery. So I'm excited to see what her fantasy writing is like. I am excited to read both of these. I have Honeysuckle by Bar Friedman Tell. This one sounds really good for me because I've been saying that I want to get a little bit more into horror tentatively, cautiously this year, and I think this one is one of those like horror, psychological thriller, fantasy borderline books, so very good for me to get into. But our protagonist is, I think his name is Rory, and when he's a child he gets this playmate that is woven together from flowers, like magically created for him as his playmate as he's a child. But then we start discovering that, you know, some of the magic that has crafted this playmate is a little more sinister. This says it is part Wuthering Heights Heights, part Frankenstein. And yeah, I don't know, it sounds really, really moody and gothic. So I'm definitely keeping that one. Romancing Mr. Bridgerton by Julia Quinn. This is the 4th Bridgerton book, and it's the next one I have to pick up. It's also the last Bridgerton book that I own. This is Colin's story, so I'm definitely going to read this one, and after that point I'm gonna decide if I want to continue the Bridgerton series or not, but I promised myself I would give it a chance till the 4th book. Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mairer, the 2nd book to Assistant to the Villain. Definitely gonna pick this up. I feel like these are such good palette cleansers in between more serious, heavy reads, because these are romanticies, but very comedic, very satirical, and they're just a lot of fun. So that is a keep. The Bones Beneath My Skin by TJ Klune. I need to pick this up probably in the summer, because I feel like this is giving me retro summer vibes. And so yeah, I want to pick this up sometime this summer. I need to. It was on my summer TBR last year and I didn't end up picking it up, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it this year. I really enjoyed House in the Cerulean Sea, but yeah, I wanna pick that one up as my next TJ Klune read. The Lion Women of Tehran by Marjan Kamali. I really need to pick this one up as well. I have heard really wonderful things about this. It's a historical fiction following resilient, strong women, and that just sounds like such a great story, obviously. So need to pick that one up. I'm gonna keep it. They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I picked this up at a second-hand bookshop this summer. In this one, we follow 2 characters who they just find out that they are going to die in the next 24 hours. And so they befriend each other and they decide to spend their last days for each other, but they have just met. They're essentially strangers, but because now they're bonded with their, like, they have the same end day, the same last day, they, I don't know, seek comfort in each other and try to spend the day together. So definitely intrigued at that one. I also have A Sorcerer Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. I've heard some good things about this one. Hemlock on Silver was not my favorite book from her, but it's the only book that I've read from her, and I'm definitely willing and wanting to give her another try because I've heard some wonderful things about her writing. So that's a keep. Season of Fear by Emily Cooper. What is this one again? I received this one from the publisher as well, but this one says, for fans of Night of the Witch and The Handmaid's Tale, we're set in a Bavarian village. Women feed their terror to an ancient saint of fear. The saint takes her sister, or she loses her sister and has to go after her. I don't know if it's because we're not really in spooky season, but I don't know. I feel like this one is not gripping me so much in terms of these types of dark gothic fairy tale horror type stories. I feel like Honeysuckle, which I am keeping, just feels like it's calling to me a bit more, so I may unhaul this one. Kill the Beast by Sarah Swift. This is another one I received from the publisher. This one is The Witcher meets Howl's Moving Castle. What do you mean? This is a fairy tale of revenge. Our protagonist is Lissa Cadigan, and her brother was murdered by a fairy-made monster known as the Beast. She meets a melodramatic dandy named Alderic Casimir, and they basically need to go kill the Beast and save her brother. I don't know if it's because of my more recent reads of books where they have very knightly names, like, you know, Cadigan, Casimir, Alderic. I just haven't really loved the books that I've recently read where we have that type of aesthetic, where we have that type of feel. And so because of that, I'm feeling a little bit inclined right now to unhaul this book. I think I may put this one in the unhaul pile. Yeah, we're gonna unhaul that one, but funny that that one had Witcher as a comp title because The Witcher. This is The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is one of the prequels to The Witcher, but you're apparently supposed to read it before you start into the actual series. This is definitely a keep. I really want to get into that world. Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi. I think I'm gonna unhaul. I think I've spoken a little bit about this one, just kind of scattered throughout different videos, but in terms of Tahara Mafi books, I really want to read this Woven Kingdom, but I don't know if I feel like I want to pick this one up just yet. And because I picked this one up originally in a little free library, I feel bad holding on to it, and I want someone else to be able to enjoy it first, because I know, like, if I do end up picking this one up, it won't be until a very long time. So I'm gonna release this one back into the wild, but if the time ever comes, like if I finish the This Woven Kingdom series and I'm like, I need more Tahara Mafi, then I might pick this one up again in the future. But yeah, I picked this one up for free, but I'm holding it hostage, and I feel like it's unfair to everyone else who uses the little free libraries in my area. Okay, My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Moshfegh. I still don't know how to pronounce that last name. This is another one I picked up in a little free library, and I've heard so many mixed things. I'm on one hand so intrigued, and I'm like, why do so many people hate this book? But also, why do so many people love this book so dearly? I'm so intrigued because of different reasons, but I have recently heard that this one has a lot of body shaming in it, and that for me is a trigger. I don't get triggered by many things in terms of books. I can read a lot of traumatizing stories and be okay. You know, I will feel the feelings, but I will be okay. Body shaming though is something that does trigger me because of my past, and I just don't know if this will be a good one for me to read mentally. I don't know if it'll be healthy, so I think I'm gonna unhaul this one. The Mask Falling by Samantha Shannon. I need to get into this one, okay? I need to stop procrastinating continuing this series. In fact, actually, I'm gonna put it in the top row of my TBR, so it's in one of the most visible positions on my TBR, and I can't ignore it. So that's a keep. Dark Age by Pierce Brown. I mean, obviously a keep. I want to pick this one up like today. Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I've heard really good things about this. It's a fantasy standalone. I picked it up in a secondhand bookshop, and this sounds really wonderful to me. We're following a scholar type character. She is a foundling in one of the great libraries, but there's an act of sabotage in the library, and our protagonist Elizabeth is accused of treason. I've heard really good things. I'm definitely keeping that one. The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I'm also going to keep. A lot of you have been screaming at me to read that one as well. And The Bane Witch by Ava Morgan. This is a reminder, I need to pick up this book. Every time I pick up this book, I'm like, this sounds so cool. This sounds so interesting, but I never do. I think it's because this is an art copy that I received. Oh, it says on sale March 2025 on the spine, which means I received this ARC probably literally a year ago, like probably January 2025. But I feel like it's just so unassuming because it's an art copy. The spine is so plain, and so every time I look at my TBR and like scan the books, I'm like, this one just doesn't pop out to me because it's just so plain because it's an art copy. But this one is Practical Magic meets Gone Girl. It's very planty, it's very poisony, and like you guys know, I was seeking very planty, poisony books, like more in the fall, I think, but I was seeking more books to do with that. So we have a mix with like all this poisony, planty, witchy stuff, and then we have our protagonist who has a husband who I think is a little bit of a dark sorcerer, maybe. He's a little bit toxic, a bit abusive, so she fakes her own death to escape, and she finds her estranged aunt who lives in the mountains and tries to stay there. She then discovers that she comes from a line of the Bane witches. And so, yeah, this just sounds like a lot of fun to read. Might not pick it up until the fall of this year, but like, we cannot skip another fall without reading The Bane Witch. It sounds perfect for that season. And then I have This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me by Alona Andrews. I'm so excited to read this one. This is actually an art copy. It comes out in March, I believe, but this sounds wonderful. It is Outlander meets Game of Thrones, and the Game of Thrones comp actually hurts a little bit because the premise of this is that our protagonist loves this fantasy series, this fantasy book series, but it is unfinished. The last book was never published. Everyone's been waiting years and years and years for this final book, but it's not coming. Very similar to The Winds of Winter. But one day she wakes up to find herself in this fantasy world of her favorite unfinished series, and she, on one hand, wants to leave, wants to figure out how to get home, but also is like, ooh, all of my favorite characters are here. Do I just like live the story and help them finish the ending? So yeah, this sounds like a lot of fun. Definitely keeping that one. And that's basically it, but I do have this pile of sequels that I don't keep on my cart. I kind of just refill them on my cart when the time comes to read these books, because these are continuations of series that I am still reading through, like the previous books, so I can't pick these ones up yet, if that makes sense. For example, Lightbringer, I can't pick up until I've read Dark Age, so once I read Dark Age, I just replace this one on the cart, you know what I mean? But yeah, in this pile I have Lightbringer, Chain of Gold, which was such a silly thing on my part because I picked this book up thinking it was the first book in the Infernal Devices series, which is the series that I want to start Cassandra Clare with, but this is actually the Last Hour series, which I can't read until I finish the Infernal Devices. So this one's, yeah, waiting on my shelf and it can't go on the actual TBR yet. The Dark Mirror, which I need to read The Mask Falling first. I have The Heart of Betrayal and The Beauty of Darkness. These are the second and third books in the Remnant Chronicles, so I need to read The Kiss of Deception first. And then, as I mentioned, I have the next two books that go after this Woven Kingdom, so These Infinite Threads and All This Twisted Glory. And the last one, I actually have The Traitor Queen by Danielle L. Jensen. This one I actually got from a book club friend. We were doing a little bit of a book swap at one of our meetups, and I brought like 7 books to book swap, but none of the ones on the table actually intrigued me apart from this one, but this is the second book. So I picked this one up because it was the only one I was like somewhat interested in, but I don't have The Bridge Kingdom, which is the first book. So it's sitting in this continuing series pile until I actually pick up the first book. But that being said, that is my entire physical TBR, so moment of truth, let's count them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. 46. Okay, you know what? I am happy about that. I know that was counting, not including the ones I have just decided to unhaul, but 46 on the physical TBR is pretty good. I was expecting over 50 because I did do a bit of book shopping over Christmas, but that's pretty good. Seeing as my goal last year was to read my physical TBR down to 35, the fact that we're starting this year at 46 is giving me a lot of hope that we can actually achieve that goal this year. So I am very, very, very happy about that. 46 books on the physical TBR. Great. I love it. That's my physical TBR, and these are the ones I will be unhauling. But again, I am going to hold on to these for a couple weeks, maybe 2 to 3 weeks before I decide to do the actual unhaul, the act of going out and dispersing these books into the wild. That being said, this is your last call to save any of the books in this pile. If you are very, very passionate about any of these and you're like, Jamie, please read this one, give it a chance, let me know. Comment down below if any of these books need to be saved. That being said, we have done the task at hand that we wanted to achieve today, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a like and a comment. If you don't know what to comment down below, let me know out of the books that I'm keeping on my physical TBR, which one you want to see me read first. If you like me, subscribe, do that bell thing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!